guys notice anything different? Amazing earrings, aren't they? They're so big, but I can feel them so heavy on my ears. Multiple colors too to go with my attire. So now that we are looking fine to go teach math, I am getting ready to tell you about lesson 9-5, pages 399, 402, regroup hundreds as tens. All right, so first, let's look on our page 399. It shows you how to do this, this section. Subtract, regroup hundreds as tens. The school has 325 students. 143 of the students inside or ride the bus. How many of the students do not ride the bus? Subtract 325 minus 143 to find the difference. Remember, difference is the answer for subtraction. The sum is the answer to addition. Line up the numbers by place value to subtract. Group 100 and 10 tens. Here it shows you there are enough ones to subtract the ones. Okay, now you have 100, 200, 300, 20, two groups of 10, 10, 20, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so then it shows that 325. Now we're going to be subtracting. Well, the first thing we do is we have to take 3 away from 5. So you see with the little dot, dot, dot around it, it's taking 3 away from the groups of 1 because we are doing the ones right now. Then on the next step, we're looking at the 2s. So what they have to do, because you cannot, if you have 2, you cannot take 4 away, right? So you have to borrow from the hundreds. So they're going to take one group of hundreds and move it over to the tens. So remember, that's like having 12 groups of 10, which is 120. So 12 minus 4 equals 8. And now we will go to the next one. And remember, because we had to borrow, now that 3 no longer is a 3, that 3 is a 2 as it's shown. And we go here, and now we do the hundreds. 2 minus 1, remember it is no longer a 3, is 1. So your answer is 182 as shown. Now, it says regroup 3 hundreds, 2 tens, as 2 hundreds and 12 tens. 182 students do not ride the bus. Now, we have written on the board, if you turn your page to 398, and that will look like this. And I have written everything on this page. Okay, let's start here. Whoops. Okay. 416 minus 236. 6 minus 6, super easy again, right? Because if you have a number and you subtract the same number, you always get 0. Even if it is 1,000,000 minus 1,000,000, it's still 0. If it is 1,000 minus 1,000, it's still 0. That's why 6 minus 6 is 0. You might want to see if we go to the other red, because this word's just not showing up like that one. So let's try that one. It's probably why I put it over there. Okay, now let's look at our tens. In our tens, we have one group of tens on the top and 3 groups of 10 on the bottom. And we can't take that away because you can't take 3 away from 1, right? One group of tens. So we have to borrow from the hundreds. And we'll move over a group of hundreds, making this 11. And then this is going to become a 3 because now there are 3 groups of 100 and 11 groups of 10. Now, 11 minus 3. 11 minus 3 is 8. Okay, and then you have 3 minus 2 is 1. So your answer should be 180. Now let's move on to number 2. 7 minus 2. We can do that because the 7 is larger on the top. So because it is bigger on the top, we can subtract. 7 minus 2 is 5. And the next one in the tens is 4 minus 8. Well, if you only have 4 groups of 10, you can't take 8 groups of 10 away. So you have to go to the hundreds, and you're going to regroup and borrow a group of hundreds, which makes this into a 2. And that 1 comes over here, and then you add the 4, and you have 14 minus 8. Now, 14 is larger now, so now you can subtract. So 8 minus 14 is what? That's right, 8 minus 14 is 6. Now, 2 minus 1, that's super easy. You just go down 1. Remember here, you don't have to go 1, 2, 1. You just have to remember, anything minus 1 is the next number down. So that is going to be 1. So your answer is 165. Okay, let's go to number 3. Ooh, another easy one, 8 minus 8. Remember what I said? If you have any number minus the same number, it's always what? That's right, 0. Now let's go to the tens. Again, there's a 2 on the top. Remember, the answer is not 1, because that would mean the 3 would have to be on the top. But the 3 is not on the top. The 2 is on the top, and it is smaller than the 3. So you must go to the hundreds, and you must borrow that 1, which will make that a 0. And you bring that 1 over here, and that becomes a 12. Now 12 minus 3. 12 minus 3 is 9. And because this is the 0, you do not put a 0 in the front unless, remember, you're using a decimal. And we're not doing decimals right now. So that the first number is 0, you do not put it. Now, let's go ahead and go to the next section. The next section is 4 through 11. So on 4 through 11, same thing, we'll just be subtracting and deciding where is it that we need to regroup and borrow. Okay, now, here we have 9 minus 4. Well, that's super easy, that's just 5. You do not have to do anything because it's larger on the top. But again, we come to the tens. And the one group of tens is a lot smaller than 6 groups of 10. So you need to borrow from the hundreds. Again, this 3 becomes a 2, and then this 1 becomes an 11. You guys were actually pretty good at this, so it shouldn't be that hard. 11 minus 6 is 5. Then 2 minus 1 is 1. Remember, it's not 3 minus 1. That has been crossed out. You now have 2, and you have to work with the number that you put on top. So the answer is 155. Now let's look at number 5. Number 5, 4 minus 1, super easy, 3, because you go to the next number down. Then we have 7 minus 9. Again, 7 tens is less than 9 tens, so we must borrow from the hundreds. So we'll cross out the 8, make it a 7, and we'll come over here, and this is a 17. Now, 17 minus 9 is 8. And then 7 minus 2 is 5. And then remember too, as we're doing these things, do make sure that you have got everything in the correct place value, because you don't want to go too far over where it can have a different meaning. Because remember, if the 3 is here, it's worth 3. If the 3 is here, it's worth 30. If the 3 is here, it's worth 300. So it's really important that you keep the place value correct. Okay, let's now look at number 6. 9 minus 7 is 2. And then you have 4 again. 4 tens minus 7 tens, which we know we cannot do. So we have to borrow again from the hundreds. This will become a 4. And then this will become a 14. So 14 minus 7 is 7. 4 minus 3 is 1. Your answer is 172. Now let's move over to 7. 4 minus 0. Well, that's even easier, because if you have 4 or anything in the number and you take nothing away, it's still the same number. So we know that answer is 4. Now we have 5 minus 7. Again, 5 tens is less than 7 tens. So we must borrow from the hundreds. We will make that a 3, and we will make that a 15. 15 minus 7. You know what 15 minus 7 is? That's right, it's 8. Now, 3 minus 1, super easy again, go to the next number down. It's going to be 2. So you have 284. Now, let's go to number 8. Number 8. 8 minus 3 is 5. Now, look at the 2 minus 3. If you have 2 tens, you cannot subtract 3 groups of 10. So we have to borrow again from the hundreds. And the turn into a 7, and then the 10s will become a 12. Now 12 minus 3 is 9. 7 minus 3 is 4. Your answer is 495. Let's go to the next one. You have 4 minus 2, that's 2. And again, your 2 groups of 10 are smaller than the 7 groups of 10, so you must borrow from the hundreds. That 9 will become an 8, and that 2 will become a 12. You notice we're just adding a 1 to this number. You see that pattern going. So 12 minus 7. Anybody know what 12 minus 7 is? It's right, it's 5. 8 minus 1, again, real simple. Go down to the next number, that is 7. So your answer is 752. Now let's go to number 10. 9 minus 1 is 8, another super easy one, and even more easy, 9 minus 9, 0. And then 6 minus 3 is 3. Another way you can know you're right is just like example. 3 plus 3 equals 6. Do you see how that works? And this, because it's 0, but this is 8 plus 1 equals 9. Really super easy. Okay. Now, and this same thing, 0 plus 9 is 9. Now, let's look at the next one. 5 minus 2 is 3. 6 minus 9, again, you cannot subtract 9 groups of 10 from 6 groups of 10. Remember, it's not 9 minus 6. The answer is not 3, because the 9 is not on the top, the 6 is. So let's cross out the 4, and that becomes a what? That's right, a 3. And what does the 6 become? Yeah, you're right, it's a 16. So, 16 minus 9 is 7. You guys are so smart. 3 minus 2, there's only a difference of 1. 173. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to a word problem, and the word problem on number 12. Number 12 says, a bakery makes 358 muffins. It sells 166 muffins. In the morning, how many muffins are left? Let's find out. So, we know there were 358 muffins. They sold 166 muffins. So, we have to subtract to find that number out. So, let's look. 8 minus 6 is 2. And then we have 5 minus 6. Even though it's a close number, the number is not, it's not going to be 1. Because you have, the 5 is smaller than the 6. They're close, but they're not the same. So you must borrow from the hundreds. You make that a 2, and you take that 1 over here, and you bring the 5 up. Now the 5 minus 6 is 9. Then 2 minus 1 is 1. So you have 192 muffins are left. And that's what you have, something that says muffins are left, and you'll be putting 192. Now they ask a question about that, and about how you know what to do when a number in the tens is too small for the number in the hundreds, or the number in the ones is too small for the ones. And so this answers the question for number 13. It says, explain how regrouping hundreds as tens is like regrouping tens as ones. And we've talked about this before. We just talked about it with the tens, but now we're going to talk about it with the tens and the hundreds. When there are not enough ones to subtract, regroup 1 tens as 1. Now, probably in this case, it could be 1 10 as ones. When there are not enough tens to subtract, regroup 100 as 10 tens. Because remember, as we showed earlier, remember on another lesson, you had that square that had 100 because it had 10 groups of 10 all smushed together to make the square. But if you took them apart, remember we had 10 individual groups of 10. And that's what those 10 individual groups of 10 add to 100. And that's why you have to completely move them over to be able to subtract those numbers. And so that is our lesson for today. I can't wait to talk to you tomorrow. I love you guys. Bye-bye.